Good afternoon, guys. This is Ali Hussein, your host for Ali Talks Tech. We are in Kigali this week in partnership with MasterCard, and I get the opportunity to grill Mo again. I was with Mo a couple of days, about a week ago, in the Fintech Surge during GITEX in Dubai. Today we have some interesting stuff to talk about. Mo, welcome, man.
I'm very worried today, Ali, and I'll tell you why.
Why are you worried, Mo?
Because
Tell
you're
me.
on home ground now, right? We're in East Africa. This is your home ground. Everybody knows you here. I'm very intimidated today.
No, don't be. I'll be very nice. I'll be absolutely nice.
Thank you.
Mo, so today, very interesting stuff. Number one, I saw the news release about your partnership with Cellular.
Yes.
That is super interesting, Mo. And for me, I've been talking to some of my friends about how fintechs are more and more working directly with some of the biggest rails in the world. And for me, this is super interesting. Cellulant in 36 markets across Africa. So congratulations, Cellulant team. Congratulations, MasterCard, for that really interesting. So I do not want to take the wind out of this conversation and hand it over to you. What is this partnership about between MasterCard and Cellulant?
Thanks, Ali. So yeah, it's an amazing partnership, one that's very close to our heart, one that I'm personally very proud of. So, it goes back to our mission and our vision from a MasterCard perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The whole mission is to digitally enable or formally bring into the economy or the digital economy 1 billion customers, 1 billion consumers by 2025 and 50 million merchants.
So that's your big, hairy, audacious goal.
That's the goal.
1 billion consumers by 2025 into the digital economy.
Into the digital economy. Globally, right? So that's what we're working very hard towards. And as you know, we're very selective in terms of who we partner with from a MasterCard perspective, because we look for those partners that can give us scale, that can obviously who are very innovative. Cellulant ticks all those boxes. Innovative company operating across 30 odd markets.
36, I think,
36.
Last time I checked.
Yeah. And so the whole partnership is predicated on enabling them for a virtual card. So as you know, today within the Cellulant network, it's a closed loop environment. Their consumers have the ability to do whatever they can do from a use case perspective, be it paying bills, be it paying various merchants within the ecosystem. But what we do now is, by adding this companion card or this virtual card to a Cellulant wallet, a Cellulant consumer now can actually make a payment wherever MasterCard is accepted globally. And MasterCard today have close to 90 million acceptance locations.
90 million acceptance locations globally.
Globally.
When I was reading that press release, something stuck in my head. And I'm like, this is interesting. That sentence that said, you don't need a bank account to operate this virtual card. Could you just unpack that for my viewers?
Absolutely. Look, the reality is that Cellulant goes through a stringent KYC process today, right? Most importantly.
And they're regulated.
Right? They obviously have reached to the unbanked, okay? They have reached to those consumers who are unable, because they don't have a bank account, they're unable to make a purchase. And I'm going to use AliExpress because it's also part of your name, or Amazon or Netflix as an example, right? They're unable to do that. Now, the power that they have is they have access with this virtual card, and they don't need a bank account to do that. They've gone through the KYC processes. They are regulated with Cellulant. So very simply put, this card gives them access to a lot more use cases, a lot more opportunities to buy goods and services.
So just unpack for me the technical bit. I know a number of my viewers would love to hear that value chain?
Yeah. Whew. Okay. It's quite broad, right? But I think simply put, a cellular consumer accesses their wallet, be it in the form of a mobile app, be it in the form of USSD, be it in the form of web, wherever obviously cellular operates today. And that's business as usual from a cellular point of view. Now, when a cellular customer wants to make a purchase online, the companion card is simply reflected in the form of a virtual card against the wallet. Okay. And then the consumer simply is exposed to this card number. Obviously, they know what's in their wallet. So there's obviously a marriage between the companion card and the wallet.
Correct.
And they simply make a payment. Obviously, in the background, cellular have, integrated into various payment processes, to obviously fulfill that payment.
Mobile money, direct bank debit and credit.
I mean,
stuff.
they're just so innovative. They have all that technology today. They've integrated into it. And now this is just a value add for their customers. And I'm saying it's just a value add. It's monumental for them.
So how many markets does this partnership cover?
So this partnership, we're starting off with 6 markets, six key markets. Yeah, across sub-Saharan Africa.
6 key markets. Kenya, of course.
Kenya being the big one.
Nigeria,
Zambia. Mostly from an East Africa perspective, Tanzania as well. Egypt. So we're going, Egypt not yet, but definitely, is on the card. So we're starting off with 6 markets. Cellular, very dynamic company.
Extremely.
They want to obviously test and learn, right? They want to understand what works. So they're going with the sub-Saharan Africa
Probably
approach.
One of the oldest and most solid fintechs this part of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Would you agree with me?
Absolutely.
Interesting. I will be watching these developments, and I think I have an interview with their CEO this Friday.
Oh, good.
Yes,
good.
I think I do. I'm super looking forward to that.
Likewise.
Listen, you've just come from a very interesting panel with a very, distinguished group of people. There's a word you use there. I want you to unpack it for me again in relation to this partnership. It's the first time I've heard this one. I will say I had
Unbelievable.
I heard it from Mo. Yeah? Fintegration.
Oh, yeah.
Fintegration. I'm going to use that word on and
It's
on.
not mine.
I love that word.
Disclaimer, it's not
Great.
mine. So I think in the panel, we spoke about themes emerging within the fintech space. And one common theme is fintegration. Now, what does it mean, right? We're starting to see that fintechs, telcos, all of these players, but specifically fintechs as well, they're no longer in the business of competition.
Yes.
I mean, everybody tries to get the largest consumer base or the largest merchant base. But I think from a technology standpoint, they're sort of playing to their own strengths, right?
Yes.
So, and as an example, Cellulant says, you know what, from a technological perspective, they have built their specific capability. I'm using them as an example.
Yes.
But there's certain capabilities that they also require. So fintechs look at this and say, what should we do? Should we build, buy, or partner? Okay. So building something, from the ground up takes time. Okay. Buying something obviously requires investment. So partnerships become sort of the main order of the day. So what we're seeing is that fintechs are starting to partner with each other, each playing to their own strengths. And this is where we get the term fintegration, where they're okay to partner with each other because they've all got APIs. So they've
brilliant.
Specific fintech has built a specific capability. They have APIs and they're sort of monetizing that as well.
Brilliant.
Other fintechs are happy to pay for that service because they don't have to obviously go and build it or buy it. It's simply just partnerships.
No point everybody plays.
Exactly.
And that's the essence of ecosystem building. In Dubai, there was this gentleman, I forgot his name, from Pakistan. He said something I still forget. I still remember today, and I wrote it down. The 4 C's of ecosystem development. Do you remember that?
Ati of Tair. Yeah.
4 C's of ecosystem development. Guys, I'm not the one who coined it. Mo is not the one who coined it, but you had it here first. the 4 C's of ecosystem development: compete, complement, collaborate, or capitulate. That's exactly what we are discussing, right?
Exactly.
And look, I mean, this world is moving so fast, Mo. How do you keep up? How do I keep up?
Yeah. Look, it's a tough question, and we don't have the answer to that. I think, and just today we heard in one of the discussions is that within the region, 52,000 fintechs have emerged in the last 2 years.
Can you imagine?
That's massive.
52,000.
Yes. So how do we keep up, right? I think from a Mastercard standpoint, we have an approach, and that is very similar to Fintegration, right? Is have open APIs available. We're seeing that decision makers today are no longer the suit and ties that sit in a boardroom that strategize and obviously, make the decisions. Who are the decision makers?
I don't even tie in my shirt anymore. It's my new style.
It's a good style. The decision makers are your software developers.
Correct.
Because what happens is they go and they look at these APIs and they look at which one is the easiest to integrate into, and they come back to those who are in power, in the leadership position, and says, I want to integrate into this specific fintech or into this specific partner because it's easy to integrate into. I can call this easily. It's not heavy on my back end. And you go out and you figure out the commercials with them directly.
I was reading a book by one of the authors, was Eric Schmidt, former Google CEO. And he said something very, very profound. He said, in today's world, if you can get 4 Google level, Mastercard level, global level software engineers, and you let them loose in your business, he guarantees you to 10x your revenue in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in today. Mo, super interesting times.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is this fintech white paper that is launching tomorrow. So I want you to give my audience a sneak preview.
Yeah. No, I think it's important for us, and we're quite proud about this fintech white paper. There's so much that's happening within the fintech space. Africa is a hotbed from a financial services perspective, from a fintech perspective.
Yes.
We speak about so many things in there. We speak about the Fintegration piece. We speak about what I like to call the 3 C's, rather the 3 C. Your C's are now obviously confusing me, but we speak about the 3 themes that we're seeing. The first one obviously is collaboration, and that's the whole Fintegration piece, where within this ecosystem, we're seeing a lot of collaboration take place, and not just amongst fintechs. We're seeing banks starting to collaborate with fintechs a lot more. We're seeing regulators become much more relaxed in their approach. They're starting to obviously keep up with the innovation that's taking place. For a while, a lot of commentary has been made about, regulation is stifling innovation, etc. But we're starting to see regulators come to the party as well. So I think that's the first piece, collaboration. The second one is digital first. Now, a key statistic.
And in Africa, digital more often than not means mobile. Correct.
The GSMA, and I'm going to quote them because we had a GSMA event.
Yes.
They predict that by 2025, 65% of mobile phone subscribers will be smartphone users. There'll be 65% smartphone penetration.
Huge. By 2025.
By 2025.
That's just 3 years from now.
Exactly. So we're starting to see fintechs.
Is there a paper on that?
It's
part of
yeah. So we make reference to it,
Nice.
And I think there is a report from a GSMA perspective that you can find online.
Is that the mobile money, state of mobile money report?
That's the one.
Launched?
Yes, correct. So it's in there, right? So we're starting to see that from a fintech perspective, they're creating utility around the smartphone
Interesting.
in the form of super apps, in the form of embedded finance. So you have a solution, and when we say embedded finance, it's about lending, it's about payments, it's about remittances. It's a buzzword, but it has all of that in there.
A good friend of mine called Robert Ochieng
Yeah.
loves to talk about layering.
Yes.
So everything is being layered on top of each other, growing value almost infinitely.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So that's the second theme. I like layering. I
love that term.
Yeah, exactly, because you create this ecosystem, and you create this one-stop shop from a consumer perspective. Think about cellular, right? Their consumers have a one-stop shop now for all their needs when it comes to payments. Okay, sorry, and then going back to the last theme, we've spoken about customer centricity. We've spoken about collaboration. The last one is obviously digital first. Digital first. It's very connected to customer centricity, but from a smartphone like what we spoke about.
Yes.
But I think we're starting to see digital first play a very important role, where it's very easy, for example, to open an account, open an account, make a payment, etc. So digital first is very, very important, and we're seeing that theme play out a lot more within this whole fintech space. All of this is in the white paper. We've launched 2 weeks ago. We launched it together in Middle
Dubai.
East and Turkey,
Yes.
and now we're focusing
That
on
was
sub-Saharan
fantastic.
Africa as well. I think we've got to make sure.
I can't wait to read that.
Look, every market is nuanced, right? And the reason why we've split it is because as much as we obviously operate across 210 markets, every market is different. And that's why we have a special one just for sub-Saharan Africa, because it is very different to the rest of the region as well.
So, Mo, let me ask you. We always hearing stuff like, oh, this player is dominant, that player is dominant. And yet, if we look at statistics, 90% of payments in Africa are non-digital. Only 5% of 100 million micro, small, medium enterprises in Africa are digital payments users. So where do you see this space going? And I think what we Africans need to start thinking about is to stop thinking and having this scarcity mentality. I mean, you've just told me 52,000 fintechs have emerged in the last couple of years. Now, I hear sometimes people talk about what's the problem you're solving. But sometimes innovation doesn't work like that. Sometimes innovation just for innovation's sake. I know this is not something some people want to hear, but you create that ability to have serendipitous moments.
Yeah.
Where moments that you've not planned for happen. So you may be looking for a specific insight, but as you're looking for it, you find something else. Now, from a MasterCard perspective, I like the fact that you guys are very big now in the fintech enablement space. And that's what you live and breathe. In the next 3 to 4 years, how do you see this space shaping up in Africa?
Jeez.
One of the things, before you answer, one of the things that I love is how players like Cellulant have surmounted humongous roadblocks from a policy and regulatory perspective. What are the lessons there for other fintechs coming up?
You had to go there, hey? Jeez. I think, from a let me get my crystal ball out
Yes.
and answer the question, because who knows where things will be
Correct.
from a 5 to 10 year perspective. But if we look at the horizon, Ali, I think our approach towards this specific space is, as Mastercard, we bring trust into the ecosystem. We ecosystem builders, right? We've been around for 50 years. We've created a franchise networks with banks across 210 markets that we operate in.
Still play and will continue to play a huge role in your ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we now move into this this fintech world, and we've been part of it for a long time now, we'll continue to not just enable them with cards like what we've done with Cellulant. I think that's just one piece of it. We've got a plethora of services and products within our ecosystem or within our business.
So building a marketplace.
Exactly. So it's about exposing these services and these products to these fintech players. I think most importantly for us is we want to make sure that we're a fintech fit business. Okay, so we can easily so we can easily expose APIs to fintechs to use, as from our Mastercard developers portal. So we'll definitely continue with that. We'll make sure that we continue to be part of the from a regulatory perspective. We'll continue to lobby and make sure that we make it an even playing ground or even level playing field for all parties, be it fintechs, be it banks.
When it comes
telcos.
when it comes to lobbying, I'll be happy to tell you that the Association of Fintechs in Kenya, of which I am the chairman, and the Africa Fintech Network will be happy to find ways to collaborate with you.
Absolutely.
This soft and hard part of the policy and regulatory perspective is something that most, not just fintechs, most startups, not just simply don't get it. It's just that they don't have the resources and they don't know.
They don't know.
Yeah, so a lot of young people are innovating, but not realizing that financial services is one of the most highly regulated industries in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, because really, that's the backbone of any economy.
This conversation can go on for hours.
It can, man. It can.
And I always love speaking to you because you always go deep, very deep into it. But I think, from a Mastercard standpoint, we want to enable, or we want to equip fintech players in the various sub-segments that we operate in, because we know there's an enabler segment within the fintech business. There's an e-wallet segment, a payment facilitator, payment service provider segments, there's crypto. There's so many different segments. We want to make sure that we're that orchestration partner, okay? And we expose our APIs, we expose our services to them, so they can simply just get on and do what they do best. They can focus on their consumers. They can focus on user experience. Everything else from a back-end perspective, Mastercard is your go-to partner. That's predominantly our approach.
Mo, I want to wrap this up because I know you've had a long day today. But I would love to ask you one last question on behalf of all fintechs in Africa. Mastercard is open for business for fintechs. What do they need to do?
Just give me a call. No. Look, there's 52,000 of them. 52,000 of them
you
calling
won't
me.
do anything else, man. So here's the thing. What I would love to do, as an aside, let's put a 10-point checklist for startups. Tick, 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 tick. And then how do we move into partnership? Because you guys have the scale.
Yeah.
You have the gravitas to play in the policy and regulatory, which is one of the biggest issues. Let me be honest. Funding is important, but it doesn't matter even if you get 100 million and you are not able to play in the space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good
You make such a good
conversation.
point. You make such a good point. Sorry, and I just have to mention this.
Please.
So, within MasterCard, we have an
Yes.
advisors business, part of our data and services
Yes.
business. And it's a group of consultants, and they obviously have a lot of experience within commercializing businesses.
Yes.
So we often find fintechs come to us and saying, we've got all this funding, we have this great idea. How, MasterCard? And we expose our services team to them, our advisors. And within a period of 6 months, it literally goes from idea to commercialization. Execution.
Oh, fantastic.
And that's what we want to do.
Fantastic. Good.
Thank you.
I mean, I would love to just simplify this
We'll do that.
for this continent, because the future of finance is fintech.
Absolutely.
Guys, Mo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really always great having a chat with you. Guys, asanteni sana for listening today. We will be having at least one other interview before this event is over on Thursday, right? So let's wrap it up. Thank you very much, guys. Mo,
Thank you for having me.
I believe we have a dinner today.
Cultural dinner.
Cultural dinner.
Yes.
So I have this Pakistani
Wow.
thingy that I need to wear today from a friend of mine from Pakistan. So I'm going to do that.
Nice. I look forward. We're going to take a photo and we're going to post it together.
Absolutely.
We need to show everybody how you
All
look.
right. Cheers, baby.
Cheers. Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you soon.
Cool.